folks, it's us again, up all night with all out cricket. Here he is, don't worry girls, he's back, Henry Cowan, and look, Mr. Edward Kemp. Vidushan Ahantaraja, he's not with us today, he's in New York preparing for the James Corden show, something along those lines, Young Journalist of the Year, hope you're well, Vish. It's been one hell of a week for cricket, of course. Zayn Malik signs for Leicester, Jeremy Clarkson takes over at the ICC, and of course Paul Dowden finally agrees to meet Mr. Kevin Pietersen in a one-off TV debate. A lot of toing and froing.
Only because Nicola Sturgeon's going to be there as well.
Yeah, I also gather that he's required all the other managing directors,
yes.
Which TV execs say is tricky because there aren't any.
Yeah.
Obviously. Kevin Pietersen might be back playing for England. Isn't that wonderful?
That was manic.
Terrifying. Isn't that wonderful? Some would say that he may have been slightly delusional over the winter, telling people to camera that I just want to play for England because I like playing for England. Turns out it wasn't that delusional after all. Now, Henry and Edward, I have two questions. One, what percentage chance is Kevin Pietersen going to be playing for England again in an England shirt? And two, should he be given the chance to do it? Come to you.
Sold him the dummy. Well, Michael Vaughan plays his chances at 10%, rising to 15.
Right.
And on the Vaughan deck. And based on that, I'm going with Vaughan. I think he knows his onions.
Right.
It's not out of the question.
No.
Okay. Henry, percentage?
I think more than that, because I think he'll score a hatful of runs, and controversially, it looks like that's the measure that's going to be used to select cricketers.
What?
And I think he will score a lot of them for Surrey in Division 2.
Yeah.
And
do they count for much? Did he give 2 runs on flat tracks against, with the best will in the world, some average attacks?
He picked Magnani last year, did 2 players scoring lots of runs. Alistair Cook plays for Essex.
Okay.
I think it stands for enough, and the fact he's keen to play is more telling than anything else. I think 25%.
It's one hell of a stance for him to take, gentlemen. To turn down the best part of 200 grand in the IPL to say I'm going to go and watch the rain fall at Grace Road for a couple of months. That's one hell of a stance for him to take, and he deserves credit for that. Ed Kemp, you're a committee man, a natural committee man, as apparently is Alistair Cook, who Kevin Pietersen described thus in his book. Cook has poured cold water on all of these ideas of Pietersen's return. Is that an expression? We'll go with it.
Yeah,
we'll go with it.
Great cook, but yeah.
He said when he was out in Abu Dhabi recently, he said there's very little chance of Kevin Pietersen coming back. A lot of water under the bridge, etc. It's a long way back from here was the actual quote. Thank you, journalist. Thank you. Now,
Could be wrong.
Alistair Cook's the England captain. Alistair Cook runs that dressing room. How can Kevin Pietersen feasibly walk back into it with everything that's gone on in the past? How conceivably can that happen?
Well, firstly, if I was Alistair Cook, I would feel pretty uneasy about it, having read the book. But maybe you have to, for the greater good of English cricket, English cricket kind of needs to be seen to be open to the idea of picking the most famous player in the country.
I think it comes back to Pietersen shouldn't have been sacked after the Ashes. They should have dropped him, fine, if that's what they thought, drop him, say if you score runs we'll pick you. That's where we seem to be again now, with Colin Graves' his kind of brush of reform, as it were. So if he scores runs, then he has to be picked. And if he is picked, then let's all just rub along and be the colleagues who aren't the best of mates.
Okay. Such
We
as
do.
that.
We do.
Yeah, okay, alright. There'll be plenty more on Mr. KP, no doubt, but I can't help noticing that there's still a World Cup going, 13.8 billion years, and still going strong. We've finally got a final to look forward to.
Come on.
Thank God for that, folks. Bangladesh are not in it.
What?
Bizarre miscarriage of justice. A couple of teams, the yellow ones and the black ones, they're in it instead. We'll come to that in a moment. There's been some moments in this tournament. Can you remember any? No, you can't, but there are some. You remember any?
Not one.
Have a look at these. What?
You're out. Wow.
Alright folks, they were good, weren't they? Weren't they funny? Now, Henry Cowan, Ed Kemp, it's a New Zealand-Australia final. Who's going to win it?
Like I said 5 or 6 weeks ago on You and Malk, I think Australia will beat New Zealand in the final because they're better at cricket.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah. Although I also
so you're
said,
not smug about that.
I also said New Zealand would struggle. So.
Right. Okay. Yeah, some kind of schizophrenic confusion.
No, I think I said that New Zealand wouldn't play as well as people thought they would, but would still get to the final, which I think is probably more now.
Okay. Hey, Kev?
I'm going for New Zealand because I want them to win.
Right.
So, heart ruling.
And you're a paid journalist.
Yeah.
We pay you.
My analysis is that I want New Zealand to win.
So they will.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
No, so I think they will.
Henry, rescue our profession.
New Zealand have a bit of a mental block, I think, when playing Australia. They're going to be fragile, hopping across the Tasman Sea to the MCG to face the might of Australia.
Right.
I think psychologically, the powers of Australia, and I think that means they're going to get over the line. Even though New Zealand are playing better cricket and have looked better and stronger, I think Australia will do it because the game's won in the head.
But is Brendan McCullum actually channeling the secret truth of the universe?
That's the big question. Over the line.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to carry, as this talismanic figure, the baggage of past failures and that ongoing inferiority complex between the Kiwis and the Aussies. He doesn't seem to have that. He seems to actually relish it.
But he could still get up for 20, and then that power.
But he has imbued something in that team we've never seen before.
That's very true. That's very true. I just think New Zealand, as we've seen, have been amazing. They've had all this following. They've been fantastic. I worry about them going over Aussie fans. They want it a lot. I worry, I fear that Australia are going to do it. I would love New Zealand to win.
For me, it's Australia. But I believe in Trent Boult. I think he's actually on the verge of being one of the great bowlers of his era, maybe of the last 20, 30 years. He's very special. And he can go and win that game in Melbourne, under lights. He can swing that round.
So Mitchell start.
Exactly, for sure. But there are match winners on both teams. What will be, will be. It's only a game of cricket. Okay, prediction for man of the match. Just give me one name and then we're done here. One name, Kev. Man of the match.
Danny Vittori.
Oh, nice. God, that heart is pumping, isn't it? And Henry?
Stark.
Yeah, you're going to say Stark, aren't you? Okay, folks.
Or Faulkner.
Okay, that's enough. The Sound of the Fury. That's a literary reference.
I enjoyed it.
That's pretty much it from us. We've been doing a few of these over the last few weeks. They've been quite good fun. Thanks for watching, especially you, Peter Miller. Thanks very much, mate. Now, look at that. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that beautiful?
Just look at it.
The AOC Gear Test 2015. You might have noticed, folks, the sun is shining, the weather is sweet, yeah. Now, in here, you want to get yourself the best bat for 2015? The answers lie in here, folks. Go out and buy it. The season's on, the season's starting. As for us, we're kind of done, but we'll be back for the Ashes. Might even squeeze a few out for the New Zealand series, especially if they're going to go ahead and win the World Cup.
Come on!
Come on!
Come on, Kiwis!
That's it from us. Cheers, folks. Ta-da!